All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are diving deep into a really unique book called Children of the Forgotten Light by Frank Tembo. And believe me, it's not your typical read. It's this powerful mix of poetry and what it calls prophecy, a complete and radical rewrite of where we come from. So let's unpack the incredible map this book lays out for us.
Right off the bat, the book hits you with this. This single idea is the absolute heart of everything. It takes our most basic understanding of reality and just flips it completely on its head. Honestly, this one sentence is the key that unlocks the entire thing.
So where does this journey start? Well, it begins with a feeling. A feeling the book says every single one of us has, even if we don't talk about it. It's this quiet, deep sense that we're incomplete, like cosmic orphans, cut off from some ancient, brilliant family that we've totally forgotten.
And that feeling leads to the central question of the whole book. Why do we feel this way? Is it just, modern anxiety? Or is it the echo of something that was taken from us? A massive, cosmic theft? The book argues it's definitely the second one.
Okay, so if something was stolen, what was it? The book's explanation is pretty wild. It says this feeling we have isn't from some random accident in history. Nope, it was a deliberate act, a theft of our collective memory, and a total inversion of the history we've all been taught.
To understand the theft, we have to start here, by redefining our most basic symbol. The book says darkness isn't a scary void or, evil. It's a fertile womb, the mother, the source code for everything. So in this reality, light doesn't defeat the darkness, light is born from the darkness.
And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you've got the story we're all told. On the right, the book's revelation. See the flip? Light isn't the hero fighting a battle. It's the child of the sacred mother, darkness. History doesn't start with empires and conquest. It starts with cosmic memory. And in that version, Africa isn't a place that was discovered. It's the living archive of all humanity. Now, the book gets super specific about how this was done. It claims the theft wasn't just of ideas, but of the words themselves. It points to this ancient root word bel, which meant to shine. But then, and this is wild, it somehow gave birth to Old English words for both dark, black, and pale, block. The book's explosive claim is that the word black was then deliberately weaponized, used to rename the children of the first light, and literally cut them off from their radiant origin story.
So this theft wasn't just a one-time thing in the past. The whole idea here is that it's being maintained, right now, through an invisible prison. A prison that isn't made of stone and steel, but out of the very ideas, symbols, and words we use every single day.
Let's break down the prison walls. First, letters. The book says the very act of chopping up infinite sound into a finite alphabet is the first step. Each letter becomes a link, a chain, limiting how we can even think about the unlimited universe.
Then, you take those letters and you build words. And what are words? They're walls. They create these mental boxes. This is good, that is evil. This is holy, that is wrong. These walls, the book says, are literally designed to keep our thoughts contained. And finally, what locks the whole prison up? Religion. According to this text, religion takes all these powerful, fluid symbols and freezes them solid into unquestionable dogma, demanding belief and shutting down the very curiosity that could set us free.
This prison, this matrix of control, as the book calls it, is held together by 5 main chains. Religion, which binds us with fear. Politics, which hides conquest behind a mask of governance. Media, which tells us what to want and what to be afraid of. The economy, which makes us trade our precious life for debt. And finally, entertainment, which just keeps us distracted from the whole thing.
So yeah, that's a pretty bleak picture, right? If we're trapped in this massive, invisible system, how in the world do we get out? This is the pivot point. The book has described the prison, and now it's going to show us the way out.
And the answer, according to Children of the Forgotten Light, isn't out there somewhere. You don't have to go looking for it. The key to breaking out of this prison is already inside of us, lying dormant, encoded in our very DNA.
You know how scientists for a long time have called 98% of our DNA junk DNA? Well, the book has a very different take. It says that's not junk at all. It's a vast, sleeping library, a hard drive of cosmic memory. It's all just sleeping light. And the people who start to wake up this inner library, they have a name. They're called the dreamers. These are the people who are learning to access those sleeping codes, tapping into ancient, ancestral memories that are stored right inside their own bodies. Now, the dreamers who really embody this awakening are called the wild children. These are the ones who just refuse to be tamed by the system. They march to a different beat, the rhythm of the earth, not the ticking of a clock. They remember a song that's older than fear. And their rebellion? It's not about fighting. It's about remembering who they were before the chains, totally wild and sovereign. This all builds to the book's ultimate vision, its final prophecy. What happens when this awakening isn't just a few people here and there? What happens when it goes collective? The book calls it the gathering of the flames. This is incredible prophecy where all these individual little sparks of awakening start to find each other. Spark finds spark, and spark finds spark, and suddenly, it's not a bunch of small flames anymore. It's a global fire of remembrance. And the final outcome of this fire is what the book calls the throne restored. Now, it's super important to get this right. This is not about a king or a queen or taking over the world. The throne is a metaphor for reclaiming your own inner sovereignty. It's the moment when you become the absolute ruler of your own mind, your own consciousness.
And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. It's talking about a massive reordering of the world, for sure. But it's not a revolution fought with weapons for power, it's a revolution of consciousness itself.
Which brings us to the final, mind-bending question the book leaves us with. It says all this is an awakening, but then it pushes it one step further. What happens when a flame does more than just wake up? What happens when it remembers it was never just a small flame, but that it was always a star? A pretty powerful thought to sit with.